1. Gaslighting. Let's start with gaslighting, one of the most dangerous and subtle forms of manipulation. It's when someone makes you question your own memory, perception, or even sanity. You say, "Hey, I remember you said that yesterday." They reply, "No, I didn't. You're just being dramatic again." And it's not just once. It's over and over until you start believing that maybe they're right. For example, imagine you clearly remember being told about an important meeting. You bring it up and your boss says, "I never said that. You must have misunderstood again." Now you're not just confused, you're doubting your own ability to remember. Ask yourself, do I constantly feel the need to record conversations just to be sure? Why am I starting to trust them more than I trust myself? That's not miscommunication. That's manipulation. 2. Guilt tripping. Ever had someone make you feel bad for setting a boundary? You say no, and suddenly you're the villain. They sigh, "I guess I just can't count on you like I used to." And you start wondering, am I selfish? Am I letting them down? Let's look at this example. A sibling constantly borrows money, and you finally say, "I can't help this time." They respond with, "Wow, after everything I've done for you. But I get it, I'm just a burden." Ask yourself, am I being made to feel guilty for making a reasonable choice? Are they twisting my boundaries into betrayal? That's emotional blackmail wrapped in family ties or friendship. It's not love, it's control. 3. The silent treatment. Now let's talk about the silent treatment. You said something they didn't like, and suddenly, silence. No calls, no messages, just cold, heavy silence that lasts for hours, maybe days. You're left wondering, what did I do wrong? That's the point. They're not just avoiding conflict, they're using emotional starvation to gain power. Example, you express a concern in your relationship. Instead of talking it out, they ghost you for 2 days. You break down and apologize, just to feel some connection again. Ask yourself, why am I apologizing when I was trying to be honest? Is silence being used as punishment? Silence can be peaceful, but when used to cause pain, it's a weapon. 4th, triangulation. Ever been told what others are saying about you, but you never hear it from those people directly? That's triangulation, a manipulation tactic where someone uses a third person, real or imagined, to validate their control or criticism. Real-life example. A toxic friend tells you, "I talked to Sarah, and even she thinks you've been distant lately." Now you're on the defensive, not just with them, but now you're wondering if Sarah's judging you too. Ask yourself, why aren't these people telling me things themselves? Am I being isolated on purpose? Triangulation creates confusion, and confusion creates control. 5. Playing the victim. Then there's playing the victim, a sneaky technique where manipulators flip the script to make you feel like you hurt them. You confront them calmly. Suddenly they're sobbing. "You think I'm a terrible person, don't you?" Now you're the one saying sorry. Let's look at this scenario. You bring up how their behavior affected you. Instead of taking accountability, they spin it. "I'm just never good enough for anyone, am I?" Ask yourself, am I constantly comforting the person who hurt me? Do they always turn every conflict into their tragedy? That's not vulnerability. It's emotional manipulation in disguise. 6. Love bombing. This one might surprise you because it starts with butterflies. Love bombing. It feels amazing at first. They shower you with affection, gifts, messages, grand promises. "You're everything I've ever wanted." But here's the trick. It's not genuine connection. It's a setup for dependency. Real-life example. Someone tells you they love you after 3 days. They want to move in after a week. It's intense, and it feels good until you start pulling away. Then comes the guilt, the coldness, or even rage. Ask yourself, am I falling for their affection or their speed? Do I feel safe or just high on the attention? Love that's rushed is often love that's weaponized later. 7. Blame shifting. It's never their fault. They lie. You made them feel neglected. They yell. You provoked them. Real-life example. You find out they lied. You bring it up. Their response? "Well, if you weren't so controlling, I wouldn't have to hide things." Sound familiar? Ask yourself, why do I always feel like I'm the problem? Do they ever say the words, "You're right, I'm sorry"? Accountability is the enemy of manipulation. That's why manipulators avoid it like fire. 8. Withholding emotional starvation in disguise. Sometimes the most powerful manipulation isn't what's said, it's what's left unsaid. Withholding is a technique where someone intentionally denies you access to information, affection, or emotional connection. And not because they don't have it to give, but because they're using it as leverage. Real life scenario. Imagine this. You're in a relationship. You had a rough day and try to open up saying, I just need someone to talk to. They glance up from their phone, nod vaguely, then go back to scrolling. No hug, no comfort, no curiosity. Later that night, you try again. I feel like I've been distant lately. Are we okay? They reply, you're overthinking. Go to sleep. Now you're spiraling. Did I say too much? Am I being needy? Why do I feel so alone, even when I'm right next to them? That's withholding. It's not just lack of communication. It's the intentional refusal to meet your emotional needs, to create power imbalance. Ask yourself, why do I feel emotionally starved around someone who claims to love me? Do I have to beg for affection, attention, or honesty? Withholding makes you chase, and the more you chase, the more they pull away, until you're desperate just to feel close again. 9. Shaming, turning insecurity into control. Shaming is a masterclass in manipulation because it disguises itself as help or truth. It's when someone highlights your flaws or vulnerabilities, not to support you, but to control or belittle you. Let's look at this real-life scenario. Let's say you're excited about a new project. You tell a friend, I think I'm finally going to start my art page online. And they respond with a smirk. Really? You think people are going to pay for that? You laugh it off, but inside, it stings. Or worse, you express emotion during an argument. You cry, and they say, wow, you're so dramatic. No wonder no one takes you seriously. Now you're not just hurt, you're ashamed. Ashamed of being emotional, of being vulnerable, of being you. Ask yourself, why do I feel small after sharing my joy or pain? That's shaming. And it works because it uses your own fears against you. People who shame you aren't trying to make you better. They're trying to make you smaller. Mirroring, the illusion of the perfect match. Mirroring is one of the most seductive manipulation tactics because at first it feels like destiny. It's when someone imitates your personality, interests, habits, or values to quickly gain your trust and ultimately your submission. Real-life scenario. You meet someone. They're charming. You mention your love for hiking. They just happen to hike too. You're into indie films. They quote your favorite director. You're spiritual, and they suddenly say, I've been exploring that side of myself too. It's thrilling. You think, finally, someone who gets me, someone who matches my soul. But weeks later, the cracks show. They suddenly criticize things they once praised. You realize they never really knew that movie. They just Googled it. Their values surface deep and changing depending on who they're with. Ask yourself, was the connection too fast, too perfect? Do their actions actually match their words, or were they just echoing me? Mirroring builds a false sense of intimacy to gain rapid trust. And once you're hooked, they reveal their real selves. And by then, you're emotionally invested. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more content like this and join the community.